Welcome to What Is, the show where we unravel the mysteries behind the everyday and the extraordinary. Today we're diving headfirst into a tradition that turns the world on its head, if only for a few hours. A day when skepticism is your best friend and trust is a dangerous game. We are talking, of course, about April Fool's Day. It's the world's biggest joke, a global conspiracy of harmless trickery, delightful deception, and the occasional, genuinely frustrating prank call. But have you ever stopped to wonder why? Why on the first day of April do we collectively decide to embrace our inner trickster, or more often, become the unsuspecting target of someone else's comedic genius? Today we're pulling back the curtain on this most unusual of holidays. We explore its murky, uncertain origins, trace its historical development from ancient giggles to global gags, unpack its strange cultural importance, and revel in some of the most outrageous and famous pranks ever pulled. So suspend your disbelief, sharpen your wits, and get ready to discover the strange history of April Fool's Day. Our journey begins, as many good mysteries do, with more questions than answers. Pinpointing the exact birth of April Fool's Day is like trying to catch an especially slippery fish, a recurring theme as you'll soon hear. Historians and folklorists have battled around several fascinating theories, each with its own charm and plausibility. Perhaps the most widely accepted theory dates back to 16th century France. Up until 1582, much of Europe celebrated New Year around, you guessed it, April 1st. In some regions, festivities would kick off on March 25th and accumulate on April 1st. But then, King Charles IX, in a move that would inadvertently spark centuries of tomfoolery, enacted the Edict of Roussillon. This edict officially switched the start of the new year to January 1st, aligning France with the Gregorian calendar. Now imagine a time before instant communication, before social media, heck, before widespread literacy. News travelled slowly. Not everyone got the memo immediately, and some, perhaps out of stubbornness or a love of tradition, simply refused to change. These folks continued to celebrate New Year's Day on April 1st. Their friends, or perhaps more accurately, their frenemies, began to mock them, playing tricks, sending them on fool's errands. A common prank was to stick a paper fish on their backs, calling them poissons d'avril, April fish. But why a fish? Well, a young, easily caught fish was seen as a symbol of someone gullible, easily fooled, or indeed a fool. And thus a tradition was born, one paper fish at a time. But wait, there's more. Some scholars suggest that the roots of April Fool's Day might stretch even further back, deep into ancient Rome, to a festival called Hilaria. Celebrated around March 25th, Hilaria was a day of general merriment and rejoicing, dedicated to the goddess Sybil and her consort Attis. People would dress up in disguises, mock magistrates, and engage in all sorts of playful shenanigans. It was a day when the ordinary rules were suspended and chaos reigned, albeit in a celebratory, controlled kind of way. Sound familiar? The spirit of Hilaria, a day for turning things upside down, certainly echoes our modern April Fool's antics. Then there's the more naturalistic theory, linking April Fool's Day to the unpredictability of spring weather. The vernal equinox, around March 20th, marks the official start of spring. But anyone who's experienced spring in, say, the UK or New England knows that nature can be a fickle mistress. One day it's sunshine and daffodils, the next it's an unexpected snowstorm. Nature in its capriciousness fools us with its ever-changing moods, and perhaps our human propensity for pranks on April 1st is simply a reflection of this natural trickery. Some even connect it, albeit more tenuously, to medieval miracle plays, specifically those that depict the harrowing of hell or the mocking of Christ, which could have played out around that time of year, with themes of deception and false appearances. And let's not forget our friends to the north. In bonny Scotland, where April Fool's Day was historically known as Huntigowk's Day, or hunting the gowk. A gowk is a cuckoo bird, but it also became a derogatory term for a fool. The tradition involves sending someone on a gowk's errand, a fruitless task or wild goose chase, carrying a sealed message that read, "Dinny laugh, dinny smile, hunt the gowk another mile." Each recipient would read the note, tell the bearer they had to take it to someone else, and send them on an ever-lengthening journey to nowhere. A beautifully elaborate, if rather cruel, form of collective deception. So while we don't have a smoking gun, a definitive origin story, what we do have are several compelling narratives that paint a picture of human desire to engage in playful deception, to poke fun at the gullible, and to generally lighten the mood. From these murky origins, April Fool's Day began its long, winding journey through history, slowly transforming from a regional curiosity into a global phenomenon. By the 17th century, the tradition was starting to solidify in England. While explicit mentions are rare, we see glimpses of a culture ripe for such a day. The famous diarist Samuel Pepys, for example, often wrote about pranks and jests, though not specifically tied to April 1st. However, by the late 1600s, almanacs, the ancient world's answer to Google, started to mention April Fool's Day. Paul Robin's almanac from 1686, for instance, humorously notes, "The 1st of April, some do say, is set apart for All Fool's Day." It even mentions sending people on errands for a goose's feather. Yes, a goose's feather. Groundbreaking stuff, clearly. The 18th century saw April Fool's Day truly spread its wings across Europe. Newspapers began to take notice, sometimes reporting on pranks, sometimes even participating. The pranks themselves were still relatively simple, focusing on misdirection and mild embarrassment. Think fake invitation to non-existent events, or sending a servant on a wild chase for sweet oil for a lamp that needs no lighting. Classic low-tech fun. But it was in the 19th century, with the rise of mass media, that April Fool's Day began to really find its voice. Newspapers, no longer content with just reporting on the local mayor's fake mustache, started inventing their own elaborate hoaxes. This was a pivotal moment. The prank moved beyond individual interactions and into the public sphere, creating a shared experience of collective credulity and subsequent amusement. The Victorian era, famous for its prudishness, surprisingly embraced the day, enjoying the blend of gentle teasing and more audacious schemes, often designed to expose the credulity of the burgeoning middle class. The 20th century, with its explosion of radio, television, and the internet, became the golden age of April Fool's pranks. The scale expanded exponentially. No longer confined to a single town or newspaper column, a prank could now reach millions, even billions, instantaneously. Media outlets, both established and nascent, saw the potential for engaging their audiences in a truly unique way, blurring the lines, if only for a few hours, between fact and fiction. This is where the truly legendary pranks began to blossom, setting the stage for the global, glorious chaos we know today. So why do we bother? Why in our busy, often cynical lives do we dedicate a day to falling for or orchestrating playful deception? The cultural importance of April Fool's Day runs surprisingly deep. First and foremost, it's about social bonding. Laughter is a powerful connector, and shared laughter, especially at the expense of someone who's just been comically duped, fosters a sense of camaraderie. It's a collective wink, a momentary rebellion against the seriousness of everyday life. For one day, we're all in on the joke, whether it's as the perpetrator or victim, and that shared experience is invaluable. It also serves as a fantastic stress reliever. Our lives are full of deadlines, responsibilities, and genuine worries. April Fool's Day offers a designated release valve, a chance to momentarily step away from the pressure and simply enjoy the absurdity of it all. It's a reminder not to take everything, or ourselves, too seriously. The day also subtly encourages critical thinking and skepticism. For 24 hours, we're primed to question everything. Did my boss really just announce a mandatory 5 a.m. team meeting on a Saturday? Is that new product from my favorite brand truly powered by unicorn tears? This heightened sense of vigilance, while it could lead to paranoia if experienced every day, is a healthy exercise in not blindly accepting information, a skill that is perhaps more relevant today than ever before. And let's not forget the pure creativity and ingenuity involved. A truly great April Fool's prank isn't just a random trickery. It requires planning, foresight, understanding your target, and a good sense of timing. It's an art form, really a temporary work of comedic performance art. From the Poisson d'Avril of France to the Huntigowk of Scotland, and through countless other variations, the impulse to playfully fool one another seems to be a remarkably persistent and cross-cultural human trait. It speaks to a universal understanding that sometimes the biggest truths about ourselves and our world can be found in the silliest of jokes. It reminds us that we are all, at some point, susceptible to being the April fish, easily caught and delightfully so. In the 21st century, April Fool's Day has truly embraced the digital age, transforming into a global spectacle of viral deception and internet-fueled tomfoolery. The very fabric of our connected world makes it both easier to spread a hoax and, ironically, harder to believe anything you see online on April 1st. The internet, with its instant communication and vast reach, has elevated April Fool's pranks to an unprecedented level of sophistication and scale. Social media platforms become battlegrounds of witty lies and elaborate setups. Brands eager to grab attention have embraced prankvertising, creating incredibly intricate fake products or services that often go viral before the reveal. Think Google with its annual tradition of outlandish new features like Gmail Motion, where you can control your email with gestures, or Google Nose, which promised to provide smells through your computer screen. These are not just jokes, they're marketing genius, earning millions of impressions and fostering brand loyalty through shared amusement. However, the digital landscape also introduces ethical considerations. In an era of rampant misinformation and deepfakes, the line between a harmless April Fool's prank and potentially damaging fake news can sometimes feel perilously thin. A good April Fool's joke, it always has a clear, good-natured reveal, ensuring everyone eventually understands it was all in fun. The goal is laughter, not lasting confusion or distress. Modern interpretation emphasizes the perfect balance, an almost believable premise executed with flair and culminating in a universally understood gotcha. The impact can be enormous, reaching millions, creating shared cultural touchstones and cementing the day's relevance in an ever-evolving media landscape. And through it all, the core remains the same, a momentary suspension of reality, a gentle reminder to question, and a whole lot of laughter. Now let's talk about the absolute masterpieces. The pranks that not only fooled countless people, but also cemented their place in the annals of comedic history. These are the legends, the April Fool's Hall of Famers that remind us just how wonderfully gullible or brilliantly mischievous we can all be. Starting with arguably the gold standard, the Swiss spaghetti harvest from 1957. The BBC, known for its serious news reporting, aired a 3-minute segment on its Panorama programme, showing a family in Switzerland harvesting spaghetti from trees. The narrator, legendary broadcaster Richard Dimbleby, explained how Swiss spaghetti farmers had overcome the challenges of uniform length and the eliminating of the spaghetti weevil. Viewers across the UK were utterly convinced, with many calling the BBC seeking advice on how to grow their own spaghetti trees. The BBC's response? Place a sprig of spaghetti in a tin of tomato sauce and hope for the best. It was brilliant in its simplicity and perfectly executed deadpan delivery. Then there's the truly American, truly ridiculous Taco Liberty Bell prank by Taco Bell in 1996. The fast food chain announced in full-page newspaper ads that it had purchased the Liberty Bell from the federal government, and it renamed it the Taco Liberty Bell to help reduce the national debt. The public reaction was immediate and furious. Thousands called the National Park Service and Taco Bell to complain. White House Press Secretary Mike McCurry even had to issue a statement clarifying that the government had no plans to sell the historic landmark. The prank was a marketing coup, generating an estimated $25 million in free publicity, all for a bell that was never for sale. In 1977, British newspaper The Guardian published a 7-page supplement celebrating the 10th anniversary of a fictional island nation called Sans Serif. The articles detailed the geography, the culture, and the tyrannical ruler of this archipelago, which consisted of islands shaped like semicolons and other punctuation marks. The names of the islands and the cities were typographical puns. Upper Grotesque, Bodoni, Capital City. It was a wonderfully elaborate and witty prank designed to fool print enthusiasts and general readers alike. Many readers fell for it, some even booking holidays to this non-existent paradise. Let's go back to 1992, when NPR's Talk to the Nation announced that Richard Nixon was running for president again. The show aired sound clips of Nixon declaring, "I've never done anything wrong, and I'll never do it again." The switchboards were jammed with outraged listeners and those eager to support his supposed comeback. The twist? The voice was an impersonator, and the prank was perfectly timed for April Fools. It showed that even a serious news organization could have a bit of fun. Even fast food giant Burger King got in on the action in 1998, announcing the left-handed Whopper. Newspaper ads claimed the burger was specifically designed for left-handed customers, featuring a rotation of condiments that would prevent spillage for those using their left hand. Thousands of customers, both left and right-handed, reportedly went to Burger King restaurants trying to order the specialized burger, or conversely asking for the original right-handed Whopper. A simple, effective, and perhaps surprisingly successful ruse. And who could forget Google's endless parade of pranks? Beyond Gmail Motion and Google Knows, they've given us Google Maps with the Where's Waldo game, a self-driving bicycle, in Amsterdam of course, a Google Translate for animals, and even the ability to search by blinking. Their dedication to the art of April Fool's joke is truly commendable and often hilarious. In a more localized yet equally impactful prank from 1978, a local news station in Salt Lake City, Utah, reported that Disney's Epcot Center was being relocated to Utah. They claimed Disney was moving the entire planned theme park to the Beehive State, showing footage of cranes lifting iconic Disney structures. The phone lines at the station and various government offices lit up with calls from excited residents and confused officials. More recently, in 2008, the BBC struck gold again, with Bradford's Flying Penguins. Another panorama segment featured amazing footage of penguins flying from Antarctica to the Amazon rainforest, claiming global warming had allowed them to evolve the ability to fly. The CGI was surprisingly convincing for the time, and the duration, once again, perfectly serious. It fooled countless viewers, and the segment went viral online. These famous pranks are not just funny stories. They're cultural touchstones, moments where the world collectively paused, questioned, and then laughed. They demonstrate the enduring power of a good joke, and our universal, delightful susceptibility to a well-crafted deception. And there you have it, the strange, winding, and utterly charming history of April Fool's Day. From its hazy origins in ancient festivals or calendar changes, through centuries of evolving pranks, to its modern-day digital dominance, this unique tradition has proved its staying power. It reminds us that even in our serious, complex world, there's always room for a little bit of playful chaos, a gentle encouragement to question, to think critically, and most importantly, to laugh at ourselves, at others, at the sheer absurdity of it all. It's a day when the biggest joke is often the one we play on ourselves, by believing in something just a little bit too readily. So next April 1st, Whether you're devising a cunning prank or simply bracing yourself for the onslaught, remember the rich history and cultural significance behind the world's biggest joke. It's a testament to our shared humanity, our love for humour, and our eternal fascination with the delightfully unexpected. Now we want to hear from you. What's your favourite April Fool's prank? Either one you've pulled or one you've fallen for. Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the bizarre and brilliant, please hit that like button, subscribe to What Is for more incredible journeys, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Thanks for watching, and try not to get fooled again. At least until April 1st, that is.